What is political science? It's not just about watching the news or arguing about elections. It's the actual science of politics. A famous political scientist named Harold Lasswell boiled it down to this: who gets what, when, and how. That's what we study. It's a social science, just like psychology or sociology. That means we don't just guess. We use data, history, and scientific methods to understand why governments are stable or why they collapse, why people vote the way they do, and how power shapes everything in our lives, from the taxes we pay to the quality of our roads. If political science has one word at its center, it's power. Everything else comes from this. Power is simply the ability to get someone to do something they wouldn't otherwise do. It's not always negative. Think about it. A police officer has power, but so does a teacher who gets you to study, or a friend who convinces you which movie to see. In politics, we look at how this power is used. Is it through force, like an army? Is it through persuasion, like a great speech? Or is it through something else, something called authority? This is a crucial difference. Power is just the ability. A bully has power, but authority is the right to use that power, usually because it's attached to a specific role. A principal has authority in a school. A president has authority in a country. But where does that authority come from? That's legitimacy. Legitimacy is the belief in your head that the people in charge deserve to be. If a government wins a free and fair election, we see it as legitimate. A dictator who seizes power in a coup might have power, guns, and authority, the title, but they will struggle to gain legitimacy from the people. When we talk about politics, we are usually talking about the state. Now, in the US, we use the word state to mean New York or Ohio, but in political science, the state means a whole country, like the United States, Japan, or Nigeria. To be a state in the eyes of the world, you need four things. You need people, you need territory with clear borders, you need a government to make decisions, and most importantly, you need sovereignty, which is the magic ingredient we'll look at next. Sovereignty is the idea of supreme ultimate power. It's the I'm the boss principle. Internal sovereignty means that within its borders, the state's government is the boss. The laws it makes are the highest laws. Your local school board can't make a treaty with Canada. Only the sovereign government in Washington, D.C. can. External sovereignty means the state is its own boss on the world stage. It's independent. Germany can't just pass a law telling Poland what to do. Poland is a sovereign state, equal to Germany. This concept is the entire foundation of our modern global system. So if the state is the whole country, the government is the specific group of people and institutions running the show. Think of the state as the entire car, the metal, the engine, the wheels. The government is the driver and the steering wheel. The government is the machinery that makes laws, collects taxes, builds roads, and runs the military. And as we all know, that machinery can be designed in many, many different ways. The most familiar form to us is democracy, which means rule by the people. In a direct democracy, like in ancient Athens, all the citizens would gather in the town square and vote on every single law. That's just not possible in a country of 330 million people. So we have a representative democracy, which is also called a republic. We the people delegate our power. We vote to elect a small group of people, senators, mayors, a president, to go and make the day-to-day decisions for us. If we don't like their decisions, we have the power to fire them at the next election. The opposite of democracy is authoritarianism. In this system, power is held by one person or a tiny group, and they are not accountable to the people. There are no real elections, or the elections are a sham. If you speak out against the government, you could be arrested. Totalitarianism is authoritarianism on steroids. It's not enough to control the government. A totalitarian regime wants to control everything. What you read, what you believe, who you talk to, even what you think. It's total control over every aspect of human life. There are other forms too. A monarchy is ruled by one, a king or queen. In the old days, these were absolute monarchs with total power. Today, most are constitutional monarchs, like in the United Kingdom. King Charles is a very important symbol, but he has no real political power. The power belongs to the elected parliament. An oligarchy is ruled by the few. This could be a group of wealthy families, military generals, or a specific political party. A theocracy is a system where religious leaders are in charge, and the laws are based on religious texts. What stops a democracy from just becoming mob rule, where 51% of the people can vote to take away the rights of the other 49%? The answer is the rule of law. This is maybe the most important concept in a free society. It means the law is king. It's a government of laws, not of men. The law is written down, it's public, and it applies to everyone equally. The president has to stop at a red light, just like you do. If a leader breaks the law, they can be arrested, just like you can. Without the rule of law, you don't have a stable democracy. You have chaos. You hear terms like liberal and conservative all the time. What are they? They are political ideologies. An ideology is just a package of beliefs about how the world works and how government should work. It's like a mental shortcut or a lens. When a new problem comes up, like climate change or student debt, your ideology helps you decide what the government's role should be. Should it get involved? Should it stay out? Should it spend money? Your ideology provides the answers. The two most common ideologies in the US are liberalism and conservatism. Liberalism today generally believes that government can be a force for good. It's often supportive of government programs to reduce poverty, protect the environment, and ensure equality. Conservatism is generally more skeptical of government power. It emphasizes personal responsibility, limited government, and a strong free market economy. It tends to prefer private sector solutions to social problems and is more focused on tradition and stability. And then there are other ideologies, like socialism, which argues that for true equality, the community or state should own and control major industries like healthcare and energy. Now let's look at the different flavors of political science. The first is political theory. This is the oldest part of the discipline. If the other subfields ask, what is? Political theory asks, what ought to be? This is where you study the great books and the big ideas. You read Plato to ask, what is justice? You read John Locke to ask, where do rights come from? You explore the meaning of freedom, equality, and what a good government would even look like. It's the moral and philosophical foundation for all of politics. The next subfield is comparative politics. This is exactly what it sounds like, comparing different countries to understand why they are the way they are. You can't just study the US and assume you understand politics. Comparativists ask fascinating questions. Why did democracy take root in South Korea but not in North Korea? Why does Germany have a multi-party system and the US only has two? By comparing how different countries handle elections, healthcare, or protests, we can start to see patterns and learn what works and what doesn't. International relations, or IR, studies politics between countries. In this subfield, there is no world government. There's no global 911 you can call. It's a world of sovereign states all trying to survive and get what they want. IR specialists study war and peace. Why do countries fight? How can we prevent it? They also study diplomacy, international law, and global trade. They look at organizations like the United Nations or the World Trade Organization to see how they try, and sometimes fail, to manage conflict and cooperation between nations. If you've ever been to the DMV and felt frustrated, you've experienced public administration. This subfield is the how-to of government. It's the study of implementation. Congress can pass a law that says we will have clean air. But how? That's public administration. It's the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, that has to write the specific rules, hire the inspectors, run the tests, and fine the polluters. This subfield studies the bureaucracy, the agencies and employees who turn abstract laws into concrete, real-world action. Public law focuses on the court system and the legal foundations of a state. In the U.S., this means studying the Constitution. This subfield looks at how the judicial branch, especially the Supreme Court, interprets the law. When the Supreme Court makes a decision, it's not just a legal ruling, it's a political act. When they ruled in Brown versus Board of Education that segregated schools were unconstitutional, they didn't just interpret the law, they fundamentally changed American society. Public law is where law and politics collide. Why did your parents vote for the candidate they did? Why do you trust or mistrust the government? That's the world of political behavior and culture. This is the psychology and sociology of politics. Political behavior specialists study public opinion, how people vote, and how they get their political news. Political culture looks at the big picture beliefs of a society. Is the culture generally individualistic, like in the US? Or is it more community-focused, like in Japan? This shared culture has a massive impact on the kinds of laws and leaders a country will accept. It's hard for one citizen to be heard by the government, so people team up. The two main ways they do this are political parties and interest groups. A political party has one main goal: win elections. They are big, broad organizations that want to control the government. An interest group has a different goal. They don't try to win elections. They try to influence the people who do win. The Sierra Club focuses only on the environment. The National Rifle Association focuses only on gun rights. They are specialists who try to pressure the government to pass policies they like. Finally, let's clear up a very common point of confusion: civil liberties versus civil rights. A civil liberty is a freedom from government. It's a stop sign. It says, "Government, you cannot do this. You cannot shut down my newspaper. You cannot stop me from practicing my religion. These are your protections against government overreach." A civil right is a freedom to be treated equally by government. It's a go sign. It says, "Government, you must do this. You must protect my right to vote. You must ensure I am not discriminated against because of my race, gender, or religion." Liberties are about being left alone. Rights are about being treated fairly.